Here to present today. So I'm going to talk and give the background of how we, as the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce, really over the last year, to be completely honest, shifted from a name that we had held for quite a long time and moved into our current name, which is the Silicon Valley Organization. So this change, full disclosure, was actually voted on when you all were having your meeting in Santa Fe in October. We rolled it out in January. This is a new change for our organization. We're about 4 months into the public process of this. But again, a lot of back-end work, a lot of history for this. And really just to set the table, our organization was caught last year a little bit between its history and its future. And we're an organization like many chambers who have been around a while. We've been around 131 years, started in 1886. But in the last 5 years, had really been going through what Matt Mayhood, my boss, our CEO, likes to refer to as a pivot and shift. When he took over the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber in 2011, it was very focused on politics, very focused on the local city council, hadn't really expanded into the tech community in Silicon Valley, and that process really began 5 years ago when he came. Looking a little bit about our background. So again, 131-year history, 1886, we were the Santa Clara Valley Board of Trade. The name, the Silicon Valley Organization, is actually our 7th name change. We locked into the San Jose Chamber of Commerce in 1901. 1968, we went to the Association of Metropolitan San Jose. 1971, went right back to the San Jose Chamber of Commerce. We don't want that to be the case this time, or else we're probably going to be out of jobs. We also don't know what was going on in 1968. I am a millennial, so I wasn't around. But I've heard the late 60s in the Bay Area were quite an interesting time. 1997, we became the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce, and that kind of follows the growth of Silicon Valley as a region. And some of this, again, kind of caught in between history and our past, right? The growth of our organization has mirrored the growth of the valley itself. So we were involved in 1925 in the Bay Shore Freeway, Moffett Field, kind of the beginning of Silicon Valley, San Jose's downtown civic auditorium, the creation of the Mineta San Jose International Airport, which continues to expand today, Lexington Reservoir, California's large water system, Highway 87, and then the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, which is now a part of the broader Bay Area transportation system, State Route 85, connecting Silicon Valley with San Jose. So a lot of change both in the valley and our organization over that 131-year history. But last year what we realized is we really needed to focus on the fact that we were just getting started. And our problem last year really revolved around 2 things. One is we purchased our building in 2008. So the Chamber of Commerce is the owner of our building. That purchase left us with a structural deficit in our budget that was usually realized around the end of November, beginning of December, pretty much every year that Matt had been there. By the middle of last year, that deficit was starting to creep into early November and early October, and we were starting to see the budget going a little bit out of whack. The other area was we were struggling to tell the story of who we were as an organization. And so what we see as our mission statement is an organization that promotes a robust and sustainable regional economy by executing a set of strategic plans through 4 dedicated lines of business. And while that sounds good, the problem with this, for all of us in this room who deal in a membership-based model, is that when you're sitting down with a prospective member, you say, I'm here from the Chamber of Commerce. And for that prospective member, that really kind of conjures up images in their heads. And for some of them, that image is negative. And for some of them, that image might be more positive. But then the situation we were in was as our brand had kind of grown and expanded through this pivot and shift, we were saying, well, yes, we're a Chamber of Commerce, but we do economic development, but we do workforce development, but we do political action. And the problem was we were losing people on both ends. People with the negative connotation of the Chamber of Commerce still had it at the end. You saw this a lot, particularly in the tech community, particularly amongst millennials. And then those folks that really liked the kind of traditional chamber focus was like, yeah, you know, you're kind of cluttering this brand up. So we were facing this really twofold. So we looked at a branding shift through the course of the last year that really dealt with 2 things. The first was the overall brand of the organization. We were the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce, a little bit disjointed, obviously a little bit long, quite a mouthful to say that. And it was very difficult, particularly in Silicon Valley, to get away from the clutter. So if anybody goes on and Googles Silicon Valley, you're going to get like 8 trillion hits. Anybody want to take a guess as to what the #1 hit when you Google Silicon Valley is?
San Francisco.
Touche, it's all right. Actually, the HBO special, Silicon Valley. That's what people know about Silicon Valley. But then we kind of ran down the ring from the HBO special, and you have organizations like the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, and Prospect Silicon Valley, Joint Venture Silicon Valley. The brand of the region, whether we liked it or not over that 131 years, had become bigger than the brand of San Jose. Frankly, to some extent, in our region, not everywhere, it had become a little bit bigger than even the Chamber of Commerce brand. So we had to first say, are we going to own that brand? So we consulted with groups from New York City, a group from New York City, and a group from Cincinnati, Ohio, branding consultants who came in, interviewed us, interviewed our board members, looked deep into this process and said, for us, the best way for you to market yourself is to say you are the Silicon Valley organization, the region's leading business voice, so that when you pick up the phone and answer it, you can say, hello, Silicon Valley. People are coming to the region, to the brand that already existed before. Now, two key things. One is we're a DBA. We're the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce doing business as the Silicon Valley organization. We still are the region's Chamber of Commerce. The second is we have broken ourselves down into 4 lines of business. And the first one, which is on the board behind me, is Commerce San Jose. So 75% of our members are still small to medium-sized businesses, predominantly based in the city of San Jose. And Commerce San Jose is a traditional Chamber of Commerce model, hyper-focused on SMB and their networking and advocacy needs. So inside Commerce San Jose, this is where we house our city and regional public policy. This is where we house our traditional networking events. This is where we house our monthly mixers and our Access Silicon Valley events. So those events that those people that have a very positive connotation about the Chamber of Commerce have kind of known and come to expect from a chamber model, those are housed within Commerce San Jose. But the other areas that we're engaged in have gone more regional. They've been part of the growth of the organization over the years. And they're a key part, I think, of where our future is as an organization. The first is, and this branding came out about 4 months before we did the overall branding, somewhat like a political scandal. It begins with drips and drifts, and then it becomes a waterfall. We ended up having to do this all at once. We had to rip off the Band-Aid. Our economic development initiative for 5 years have been known as RED, the Regional Economic Development Initiative, very corporate sounding name. There's lots of REDs around the country. When Matt brought it from Sacramento, he had been part of that background. But last year, we rebranded our economic development initiative as Silicon Valley IDEA. A little bit of a play on words. Before any innovation happens, you have to have an idea. But Silicon Valley IDEA stands for the Initiative to Drive Economic Advancement. And Silicon Valley IDEA is focused primarily on 3 areas. One is regional quality of life. The second is regional business velocity. The third is regional branding. And we do this in a number of ways, engaging our business community around solutions teams and action teams to solve big regional problems as they relate to economic development. One of these problems is actually millennial engagement. In Silicon Valley, we struggle with the retention of millennials, not so much the attraction of them. But we're also looking at things like housing, transportation, disaster preparedness, a number of different areas inside of the economic development initiative. The third area has always been a part of the organization. It's our 501c3, the SVO Foundation, but we are a very mission-oriented foundation. Part of this is philanthropic. We give grants and awards out to students and particularly women corporate executives in our region to pursue continuing education and their own educations, also money to school districts. But this is also where we house our workforce development initiative, Strive San Jose, which is a partnership of our members and the 4 high school districts in San Jose, around 65 different career pathways. And additionally, this is where we host our Leadership San Jose program, which has now gone from 1 line of business to 4 inside Leadership San Jose. But our organization has 16 full-time employees. 5 of them actually work for the SVO Foundation, 4 of those in workforce development. So that foundation is doing a lot more than a traditional SVO Foundation, Chamber Foundation. The fourth area is the SVO PAC, Political Action Committee. Been around a long time. We raise money, we spend money, we try to get folks elected to our city and county governments. We've played also a little bit at the state level. But the PAC has remained fairly unchanged through this process. This is kind of the one line of business that has remained unchanged. This is kind of what it looks like overall. But as I said, our branding wasn't just focused on the name. So the name was part of it. We went from the SJSV Chamber to the Silicon Valley organization, but we also made some key structural changes with this brand. The 2 biggest that I would like to talk about today are 1, we went to a brand new membership model. So previously we had tiered membership dues that went out to the larger companies were from $550 all the way up to $15,000 for the Googles and the Microsofts in the Valley. But we did away with all of that. So what we decided to do was say, we're going to leave that $550 minimum dollar value, but any amount of money that you want to come in at, $550 or above, you are no longer considered a member of the Silicon Valley organization, you're considered an investor in the Silicon Valley organization. And more importantly, as an investor in the organization, you can take that amount of money, whether it's $550 or $50,000, and you can tell us which one of those 4 lines you want to invest in. So you were able to put that money not necessarily with the umbrella organization, but with one of those 4 missions that you have. It is a shift for us away from event-based budgeting and event-based membership and towards mission-based membership. And that kind of dovetails with the other main area. We basically killed off all of our events. So this was one of the toughest things for us. So we previously had a leadership dinner, a membership dinner, a leaders dinner, a study mission, where we went to another city. They're all gone. What we decided to do was go with one event for each of these 4 lines of business. We did the study mission. We were making 30 cents on the dollar on the study mission because of the staff time and the travel time to fly people all over the country. We're going to take that trip locally. We have 4 events now. Commerce San Jose does an annual member celebration. Silicon Valley Idea has an economic development summit. The foundation has a philanthropic dinner where they raise money for that foundation. And the PAC is retaining the old Chamber PAC, now SVO PAC barbecue, which has been around for about 32 years. It kind of has a brand all to itself. When we asked our members this, we said, what would you say if we said, we're going to ask you next year for the exact same amount of money you gave us this year. We're not going to feed you and entertain you. And we're going to allow you to put that money into one of these 4 lines of business, and we're going to take that money and invest it in the mission. And every one of our top 50 donors said to a person, absolutely, please stop feeding me, please stop making me fill tables, please stop making me go to events, put it into the mission of the organization. So again, we're very early and new to this process, but a couple of key components that we've already seen. The first is already in May, that structural deficit that we were dealing with last year is gone. We have enough financing in the organization right now to not only make it through 2017, but we're actually running a little bit in the black. The second thing we're seeing, and maybe this is a bizarre piece of Silicon Valley, we have people now calling us that have no idea what we do, but want to join. Because the Silicon Valley organization, for whatever reason, sounds like this strange Death Star thing that nobody really knows what it does. And a lot of particularly the new companies in Silicon Valley are like, yeah, I want to be a part of the Silicon Valley organization. We've really gotten over that hump. And the final area is when we talk to members now, or prospective members, the pitch has become much easier. We are one organization with 4 lines of business. Are you interested in investing? And if so, where would you like to invest in that organization? So we're very excited about the future of where this is going. Obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of continuous improvement and data mining as the year goes by. But 4 months in, it's been a fairly strong experiment. And again, a lot of excitement amongst our staff and our board about where that's going. Thank you.
Great. Good job.